So in a very tech-savvy, tech-heavy, and complex business, how do you hire? What do you look for? What's working in the industry these days? There's all this discussion out there about CEOs complain that folks coming out of college are missing communication skills or management skills or the ability to work across departments. I'm curious what you're seing out there in terms of your own workforce.
It's a great time, I think, in a lot of ways. There are certainly changes in the workforce over the years that have been enabled by technology. Everybody wants to stereotype about millennials this and millennials that. I see folks coming out of school now that are super motivated, super engaged, believe that they can, accomplish anything, and want to move fast and don't really necessarily put as much weight in the hierarchy of the organization that maybe some of us older were sort of brought up to expect. Personally, I think it's a great thing. I kind of learned early in my career, good ideas come from anywhere, and as a manager or leader, if you're not having access to those because you believe that there's a chain of command or a hierarchy, that you're the one that's losing out ultimately. And today that can be more than just losing out on that idea, but people will have lots of choices and they'll just walk across the street where they feel like they can have more of a contribution. I think that I've always been a believer that my engineering background and technical skills in general, I think of as a toolkit. I haven't been a real engineer in a really long time. I can't even help my kids with high school calculus anymore. After 5 years of math in college, you'd think I would be able to, but it's gone. But the toolkit, the way of which you break down problems logically, the way you can kind of conceptually understand, what the teams are trying to accomplish on the product side of the house. I've always been a product guy. I like diving in up to my elbows. I like to argue with our sales engineers that I can do better demos than they can. But I really enjoy that part of the business, and I think it's a good blend. The business side of it, there's certainly the fundamentals of accounting and finance and all that sort of stuff, which I've got enough of a understanding of to be dangerous, similar to how sales and marketing teams should work. But it's really the communication. In a general management role, it is the communication. As the company's gotten bigger, I feel like I should get my therapist license, because I can spend more time doing that and motivating people to buy into the vision of where we're going and why we're going there.
And when you look at people that you're bringing on board, or even folks internally that you want to promote as well, are there certain characteristics that you look for that consistently seem to drive that success? Somebody that was a former athlete, or that was the first person to go to college in their school, or those kinds of things.
Yeah, I think certainly early in your career, those things I think matter more. Later in the career, you look much more at the track record. Sure. And experiences and how those line up. Earlier in career, certainly. I mean, we have, especially in our sales team, we've hired a lot of former athletes. I think just the communications, coming back to that, the interpersonal skills, the kind of drive to be successful and improve yourself. Those things are all, I think, very, very helpful in a sales role or in life. I think just in general. I tapped out at the end of high school basketball. I was physically challenged in a lot of ways, but that experience of being part of a team and working for something that was more than what I was doing, having a coach that you respected and tried to learn from, those things I think have been good predictors. But further on in the career, it's really more about performance and what you've done and understanding. I personally am drawn to people, especially with those with more experience, kind of live with the philosophy of seek first to understand, then be understood. I'm a big believer in that, and I look for that in leaders.
Great, very good, very good.
We don't have a lot of formal development programs like that. I think it's just one of those things we're just probably not quite at the scale to be able to support. But we have tried to be very open about that. One of our best sales managers, his previous job was a firefighter. And he talked his way in the door and did a great job in our BDR team, and then did a great job in as a BDR manager, and now he's managing one of our outside teams. And he's done a tremendous job. One of our best sales engineers was someone in our organization's favorite bartender. Now he's a killer sales engineer. So I think, smart people are hiding everywhere you look. So my philosophy is, as much as you possibly can, keep your eyes open. I mean, again, the further up the organization, the less you can afford to take those kinds of risks with people from the outside. But if it's someone inside who has proven themselves and their capabilities well, absolutely. None of us are great at everything. So it's kind of a question of what are their strengths and then how do you support their weaknesses in order for them to be successful, or surround them with other people that complement them well.